Good afternoon, crafty friends and fans of the Tilted Brick. I'm coming back to you today with the Uniquely Creative, this is the brand here, Uniquely Creative Mixed Media Art Journal. I'm going to be using some stencils, and we are going to experiment today with Color Blast, color paste, mica powder, shimmer dust, and then I also have some color artist ink, shimmer spray, and color spray. So we're just going to check out and see how this paper, this book, holds up to more wet mediums, and to give you some hints and tips and tricks when dealing with some of these things. I also have my distress sprayer, some paper towels. I probably should get some wet wipes ready, but we'll see. We're just going to get started. I'm going to do the color paste last because they're going to take a little bit to dry. And I'm going to get some other things laid down on here first. So again, we're just experimenting and we are going to try out some things. So the first thing I want to do is I want to add some of this color artist ink. Now I've looked this up so that I can tell you about it, and the color artist ink is it's called Color Blast by B. Artie, and this is for use on paper, cardstock, plastic, metal, wood, chipboard, other surfaces. You can use it for drawing with the paintbrush, put the liquid into a spray bottle to spray, fill a water brush and use it as a watercolor, mix it into different mediums to change their color, like gesso or paste. The ink is water soluble but semi-permanent when dry. Therefore, you can layer it over other wet mediums, and there'll be minimal running. So that is what we're going to start with. I'm not putting it in a spray bottle, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to open it, and I'm just going to add a couple of drops to our paper here. That drop did not want to release, did it? Now I've seen some people do some fun things with this, and this is going to make my fingers dirty, but I'm going to go ahead and try it anyways. I do have an apron on so that I keep the minimum of getting color on myself, but I've seen people do a little splattering for fun. Tap, tap, tap. Get those nice fun splatter marks. You can see it's turning my color because this is a dye ink, but I feel like if your fingers aren't messy, maybe you weren't playing enough, right? So there's some color added on there, and it looks to be drying fairly quickly in places. So I'm just going to add a little bit of water and see what it does. It looks like it's running nicely. So let's move our page back and forth a little bit and see. One of the things I like to do is, if you've played with alcohol ink, you know they have this blower tool, and I like to use it also with my inks so that I can move stuff around and just get another bit of visual interest. So this one again is the color dye ink. Color Artist ink, which is a dye. This particular color is Spice. Then I'm going to take this color spray, and the color sprays say to shake well. So I have a color spray. This is spray directly onto your surface for coverage, reapply for desired finish, add water if you wish to dilute, mix it with white gesso or paste to create a colored gesso or paste. Simply spray in, mix, and you're done. So this one we're also going to spray on here and see what happens. And these colors are super vibrant. Look at that. Another thing you can do when you have sprays like this is you take this out and then just tap and you get some nice droplets. This one I'm going to add a little bit more water to as well because I just want to see how it spreads. But I am liking this color combination here. It's kind of fun. And you can see it's kind of soaking into the paper. We're going to go ahead and take out our dryer. Let that move around a little bit. And I just have this stone here because I don't have enough pages used, so I just wanted to hold that page down a little bit so it didn't flip up while we were working on it. Don't necessarily need to dry this all the way. I'm just testing it out to see how things go and to get it dry so we can add the next step. So that's nice, I like that. I'm going to change to this blue, which is called Caribbean. Add a little bit of blue here. Oh, that's a gorgeous blue. And again, I'm going to add a little bit of water to help it kind of spread, because I don't want just the water droplets or the droplet look. I want it to be more blended. Although I do like this little look here with the droplets. So I think I'm going to pick up a little bit of that extra color there just to help it dry so we're not waiting so long. So far this is looking fun, but keep in mind when you're doing a mixed media art journal page, sometimes it doesn't look great in the beginning. You just have to keep going. You have to keep adding your layers, adding your colors or your median. This is Lagoon, so you can see it's a little bit more of a teal color. There we go. So again, just going to add a little bit more water, help it spread. And this one, I want that to go up a little bit, so I'm going to help it spread before it sets too much into the paper. And then kind of move this around a little bit. These are very, very vibrant. A lot of pigment in here, so you're going to get a really good coverage. Again, we're just going to let that go down. I do like when I have these rivulets like this, I do like to dry a little bit because it'll concentrate the color in areas, and so you'll get some of that look to your page. So I'm just trying to, as you can see here, getting some little lines from it drying. Still not going through the other side, so even though you can see it sinking into the paper, it's not discoloring the other side. So let me go ahead and wipe my protector off here just to keep the mess to a minimum. All right, so we've done that. And now what I would like to do is, I have seen this shimmer dust here. The shimmer dust is a pigmented powder, and you sprinkle it onto your surface, and normally I use a little paintbrush. Just reach in and grab the color and then tap it onto your surface. This is going to be highly pigmented also, which is the main reason I'm not picking it up with my fingers. You could pinch it, but it's also a very, very, very fine powder. So you can see one little bottle like this is going to go a long way because it doesn't take much. So we've used our paintbrush, we've picked up the color, and now I'm just going to add some water and we'll see what that does. Look at that, that's nice. And you can see the shimmer powder has multiple colors in there. So as you get it wet, even though it's a gold color, it is called Paris. It actually has a lot of green in there as well. And so now it's starting to spread, but you can see there's a little bit of maybe some purpley colors in there, greens. So you really get a nice mix of colors. I was gonna stick my paintbrush in that, but yes I would. And if you wanted the color to be more homogeneous, then you could just mix it. So we've got a nice rainbow, wild colors going on here. We're just experimenting today. We're just playing to see how these products react, how this book reacts to it. There's a slight bending and buckling of the pages, but a little bit of bend here, and then put something heavy on it as it dries, and it'll be perfect. So I have another, do I have another shimmer powder? No, I have some mica powders. The mica powders, I read that you need to mix these into a medium. And I don't have a medium close by. So I'm just gonna pick up a little bit of this and sprinkle it just like we did with the shimmer. Now the shimmer dust is going to have a very nice shimmer to it. And I don't know if you can see this, but this is it's got a lot of shimmer to it as well. And I'm sorry if I was off the screen. I'm trying to get better at that. But again, I'll just remind you that I'm new at this recording thing. So I'm also trying to do a minimum of editing and keep the videos a fairly decent length. So that's adding a lot of shine. Really, it's adding a lot more shine than it is color. It's almost a gold color. So very hard for you to see that in the picture, in the video, I'm sure, but it's really, maybe you can see it a little bit better there. It's really gold. A lot of really pretty. So that would probably be really pretty in some paste. And we'll try that on the next video, is to do paste. Okay, so we've got this pretty much covered in some color. So I'm going to dry it really quick, and then we're going to add some paste to this and see what kind of design we can have. This is like an explosion, a riot of colors. That's what it's making me think of, a riot of colors. So just going to dry. Sorry, hopefully the drying is not annoying to you, but I want it to be dry before I add the next step. It doesn't necessarily need to be, but I do want to put my paste on and have it be on there without it being so wet. And I'm not sure again if the camera's picking it up, but there's just a really nice shine right here, very shimmery. Looks to me like in the video it's really pale, but it is a nice like orange and gold. Very pretty. A couple more spots to dry. Let me get my paper towel. We're just gonna dab a little color there. Okay, and getting a palette knife or a palette little spatula to put into my pastes, and we'll start off with, I'm going to start with this bigger stencil by Uniquely Creative, and going to go out. I'm going to put it right here. Now you can, and I believe we do have this in the store, use Pixie spray. And this is a very light tack repositional adhesive. And I'm just going to spray it onto my stencil. And then this will help the stencil to stick to the project and not move as much when I'm trying to use it with paste. So it'll just help you. See how that's holding it down? It's not perfect, but it is holding it down better than if I just laid the stencil on top. So we're going to start with this one. This is Emerald, and I think it kind of matches the colors here really nicely. Again, this is the Color Blast color paste. And I'm going to open it and show you what we got inside. This one is already open a little bit. I'm just going to pull this off. You can see our paste here. Mix it around a little bit. Now, because we live in northern Colorado, when we're done with this, we're going to want to cover it really nicely. And usually what I do is I put some press and seal on it. And then, again, because we're in such a arid climate here in northern Colorado, you're going to want to maybe put a little spritz of water in it before you close it up. So now I'm just smoothing this over the stencil. And you don't want it super thick. You want to put it on so where you can start seeing the stencil beneath it. But you don't necessarily want to see the colors that it's on top of. And this is a very thick, opaque stencil paste or paste. It doesn't have to be just for stencils. You can use it for lots of different things. Today we're using it for stencils. Put it in here and grab a little bit more. We're just smoothing it out. You can see where the stencil is. I'm taking it off the stencil and moving it into the holes. And this has more of a distressed design on it, so I'm not trying to be perfect. Again, we're just playing today just to test out some products and see what we think about them. So ideally I would have had a little bin of water next to me, but I forgot. So I'm just going to show you this part really quick where you take the press and seal, a little piece of it. Little spritz of water to keep it moist, and put your press and seal on top. And I press it into my container and I try to like smooth out the paste that's in there. And then this can go in the trash, and then this can go on top. And of course I trim my little piece that I put on there, but now this is sealed and we'll keep it nice and moist. We're going to use one more, but I'm going to take this off first so we can see the design. And look at that neat design. I like that. And I like the color, how it goes with everything else. So that's really cool. We're going to put this aside. Normally I would have a little bowl of water to put that in so that the paste doesn't stick to the stencil. Again, I forgot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a wet wipe instead. And I'm just going to wrap it in that so that when we're done here today, I can clean it. And this wet wipe will keep it from sticking so much. So we're just going to do that. That'll help keep that stencil paste from drying on there. We're just going to do that really quick. Okay, I'm going to take another color, and I got this really pretty color called Peach Nectar. This is also the color paste, Color Blast color paste. This one is new, not opened. And you can see, since this has not been opened before, it's a lot creamier than the other that had been opened. So I'm just wiping off the lid so that I don't waste anything. And I'm going to take my palette knife and see how much creamier that is. So I'm just going to kind of rub it around in there a little bit. That's very nice. And then we're going to choose another stencil. I think I'm going to go again with this big stencil over here on the other page. And this time I'm not going to use the Pixie spray. I'm just going to try it and see what I can get. Although I may be regretting not using the Pixie spray because it does really help to hold down your stencil. And so now I'm just using this palette knife to scrape over our design. Now, a lot of times when I'm using stencils, my personal preference is to not have color in the whole thing, to have like parts of it where I don't have any color and be a little random. But we're testing things out today, and so I'm just trying to show you a good way to add your stencil paste. I'm going to come at an angle with your palette knife so that you get it into the holes, but you're not digging down. And again, a good rule of thumb is to make sure that you can see your stencil. That's about how thick you want it. You want to be able to see the stencil. That means you don't have it too wet. And I'm just going back. And I'm going to leave this as is, with some places thicker. You can see I didn't pick up any of the color that was already there, so I'm going to put it back in my jar. And I'm going to do a better job of leveling this than I did of the other one. So I'm just taking the palette knife and I'm smoothing out so that when I add my press and seal on, it'll have a nice seal, kind of like if any of you are cooks and you're making your own custard or pudding, how you put your plastic wrap to keep a skin from forming. That's what we're doing here. We're just putting the plastic wrap on to keep a skin from forming and to keep this nice and moist. So I'm going to put that aside. I'm going to take another piece of this press and seal. That is noisy and I'm sorry about that. And then we're just going to take our little container here and press. I'm just pressing the plastic down so that it touches the surface of the paste. And in the end, that will keep you from wasting. Now, the reason I didn't add water to this one is because this one is brand new, just opened, and it didn't have any drying yet. The other one, you could tell, was a bit thicker, and so I wanted to add a little spritz of water. You can cut this part off or you can wrap it around, but now your paste is protected. And we're going to remove this stencil. And look at that pretty pattern. That one's nice too. And so these have done really well with our what we've been working on. I'm going to wipe my palette knife off because that will definitely stick to your palette knife. I'm not as worried about this one because it's plastic or a silicone material. And then I'm going to take this stencil and just stick it in here with the wet wipe so that it keeps it nice and moist until I get a chance to clean it. Okay, so that is what we have so far. That's pretty. What do you think about the color paste? Again, we did color mica powder. This one was more shimmery than color, even though it has this dark color on it. It had, you can see it's like emerald. It very much has a gold shimmer to it. Then we had the shimmer dust. Oh, and we actually didn't use that color. We used this color here. We used Paris, which looks gold, but you remember it does have a gold shine to it. Here, I'll open this again. It's kind of a mustardy yellow color. While it did have it does have that color shine to it, it also spread and had these little bits of green and like a turquoise color coming off of it. And then the mica powder that I used was actually this Olive Grove green one. And this is the one that had the nice gold sheen to it. And we started by spraying our page and using some artist ink. And then we used color spray. This one is grape. We used Caribbean. And we used Lagoon. And then we had our paste, which was Emerald and Peach Nectar. So, and then the last thing I will do, while trying to keep my white sleeves out of the screen, is we have this last one that's called Color Shimmer Spray. And you can see the mica in there. And you just want to shake until there's little to no mica on the bottom of your bottle. When you've done that, it will be nice and distributed through the liquid medium that's here. A lot of times when I'm getting ready to use this spray, I'll lay it down on its side so that when I'm ready, the mica will already be, you know, laying in the liquid instead of in these little crevices in the bottom of the bottle. So that looks nice and mixed. This one is just called a shimmer spray. And let me look and see really quick. I have the website up so that I can tell you about it and see if this, well, this website doesn't carry the shimmer spray. Oh, yep, there it is. Sorry. It's a water-based shimmer spray. Shake well before use. Spray directly onto your surface. The shimmer spray can block the nozzle because of the mica that's in it. So once you're done, you want to take your nozzle off and just flush it with warm water. And that way it will get anything out before it dries there. So we're just going to take this and I'm just going to, oh, look at that. I love that color. I'm going to move this over here. And actually, I'm going to go ahead and like smooth it out a little bit. That is just gorgeous. It's really hard for you to see it in the picture. I'll show you up close in a second, but I think what I'm going to do is this little corner that we have right here, I'm going to take another one of these stencils and I'm going to spray through the stencil so that then we can see what that looks like. So we're going to add this stencil here on the edge and kind of hold it down, and then we're going to spray over it. Okay, and then also before I rinse this out, I usually go ahead and take a paper towel for my sprays and I just wipe the nozzle on the outside too to make sure that it's not clogging. So we do that and we're going to remove this stencil. And look at that design. Isn't that cool? And then of course I've showed you before where you can take this and you can press it down. We'll go ahead and turn the page really quick so that we can do that, so you can see it. Move this protector out of the way. And look at that design. Isn't that cool? Very nice. Okay, so let's just dry this really quick. I'm not going to close this all the way because I do not want that to smear. I'm just going to spray that a little bit. And I promise you that the colors on this are just amazing. It's not showing up as well in the video as I would like. But, ooh, this shimmer spray is, I think, my favorite. It's so pretty. Look at the splatters where it's on the teal here. I'm going to lift this up for you to see. And then I'm going to dry this really quick. Although, it might be pretty if it's smeared on the other page too, right? But this is just, has such a beautiful shimmer to it. Okay, so I think that's dry enough. Let me pick this up and show you what we've done here. You see that shimmer? And then if we get closer, right here, do you see the spots of shimmer right there in the teal? Let me see if I turn off the light because that's glaring, if that will help you to see it better. Yeah, it's not glaring so much. You can see how it catches the light right here. And how vibrant, shiny, such a beautiful coppery color. So we have our color paste, we have our shimmer spray, the different stencils that we used. And This is just a wild time of play in order to get this. I have some other ideas that I'm going to show you, but I just think this looks really cool. This looks really fun and like a good way to practice and to see what your mediums are going to do on paper. And let me turn this page here, and you can see I have just a little bit of color bleed through here, but I did add a lot of water. So typically I should have added some tape, which I did not, but there's only a little bit of bleed through here. So it's still the paper, like it didn't bleed through the paper at all. And it's still holding up very well. It's very thick. So this is our project today, which I know looks wild, but in real life, the colors are so vibrant and there's so much shine and shimmer that I think that you get a few of these shimmer sprays and color paste, you're going to have a great time with it. I have a couple other ideas that I'm going to bring to you, but I'm going to close for now because this video is getting a little long. So I thank you guys for tuning in. Let me know if there's anything that you would like to see, anything that I can do to make it easier for you to watch. And I hope you have a wonderful day. Don't forget to come and check us out at the Tilted Brick, and hope to see you soon. Bye.